What's up, Big Steve?
Shout out Michael Bisbin. UFC early tease for UFC Noche, a show where we're going to look at early betting odds for this week's UFC card. Usually I will do the regional odds as well. We have a few regional promotions, but just a quick UFC show today. Before I get into it, it's been a good year, around 15,000 profit, just over 200K, looking to make sure that solidifies, don't lose any profit this week. And with yesterday's recap and this show, I'm looking to have 5 podcasts this week. So going to have a Dana White Contender Series tomorrow per usual. I will have my usual UFC pod with a special guest that I haven't had on in years. And I'm working on a special show at the end of the week as well that's not to do with the UFC. So looking forward to it, something to look forward to. And also, I'm making a Discord special video that I'm editing, and I'll put it out live hopefully by the end of the week. So keep an eye out. But let's get into this. Let's make some moolah on Noche. Pirate, half locked, half cocked. That's all that matters, mate. I'll try to get you all the way locked, mate. I'll try to get you all the way by the end of the show. Alrighty. First fight, Rodrigo Sezinando versus Donchenko. This is a Ultimate Fighter finale. Taped this a couple of weeks ago when they were meant to fight before the cancellation. I think this is a high-level fight. Never heard of Daniil until I watched him on the show. Seems like a good kid, 24 years of age, knocks out a lot of guys. But I need to tape him more extensively, right? I watched his Ultimate Fighter fights, pretty impressive. I think he beat both strikers. The first guy was a striker. I can't remember who he knocked out the second time. He was a striker as well, Matt Dixon. And then, he's got this loss to Lulu, who's obviously a grappler, and, he's got a couple of losses. So, was he grappled? I'm going to say probably, because Sezinando is a decent-sized favorite here, and he's a really good grappler and a black belt. So, yeah, interesting fight, and obviously interesting that he's such a big favorite. And, but yeah, there's more tape needs to be done. I take both the Ultimate Fighter fights. Obviously, I need to go. Let's see how Danilo's ground game is. All right, just whipping up my odds, and then we'll move on. Lopes versus Silva. All right, what's the total here? I think the total is under 1.5 rounds. Let's have a look. Plus money. Yeah, I don't really think that Rodrigo is going to run through him, and I don't know if he will be knocked out. That's the thing. But he has run through a few guys on the regionals before Ultimate Fighter, and they're really old bums, Ramsey, Sinagoga, Scotty Stockman. So it's interesting. We'll do some more deep diving on that one. Alrighty. Alice Pereira, Montserrat Randon. I taped this one yesterday because I'm like, who is this Pereira chick? And look, she's all right for 19. She's well educated. She's got good footwork, stick and move. She's, I was checking out her takedown defense because obviously Randon is going to try cage hump her. And look, she looks educated enough, but it was worse than minus 200 yesterday. And I'm like, look, as much as I want to fade Randon, who's a split decision merchant, a 36-year-old harmless Mexican soccer mum, against my better judgment, I can't do it. A 19-year-old debutant fighter at that price, I couldn't do it. Today, though, a lot of money has come in on Montserrat Randon. And now, Pereira is $1.66 on some books. And now I'm kind of considering it. Yes, she's young. Yes, she's, green, let's say. But she went to a decision with this last chick, Samara Santos. She's not the best. She's the most experienced girl she's fought before. So I'm considering. And say what you will about Randon, and, at least being inexperienced. Randon's fought in the UFC twice, lost a decision to Daria, and won a split decision to Tamirez Vidal. I can confidently say that this Alice Pereira chick is better than Vidal, even though she's 19 and unproven, just from the tape that I've seen. So it's a favorite to pass for me. So we'll see. We'll see where we go. I'm not rushing to lock anything in just yet. Alessandro Costa aiding Kora. Kora making his debut. He's a LFA Fury FC guy. Interesting that he's come straight through. I don't know if this was like a short notice fight or anything. Let me have a look. It was. It was meant to be Edgar Charas versus Alessandro Costa. That's a sick fight. That's a shame. Real shame. Yeah, I mean, Coria, I need to do some refreshments on him. You know, he's got some power. He just knocked out Paris Moran, which is pretty impressive. Paris Moran's been close to a UFC shot for a bit. Ex-Fury UFC champion. Only loses to the best. So he knocked him out quite quickly as an underdog, and it was overturned, I guess, for weed, I'm pretty sure. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, he's got some power. So Alessandro Costa is chinny. He was knocked out by Amir Albazi of all people, and he was dropped by Steve Erceg, and I think someone else. He's been dropped a bunch on the regionals and even on contender series. So wouldn't really be laying this kind of price on a chinny flyweight against the guy with power in Alden Coria, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a dog or pass. Some tape needs to be done. What's the under here? Let's have a quick gander at the under. Also, at least Pereira, Mounser, Randon under. Yeah, it's going to be juiced to the over 2.5. I don't know if at least Pereira has the finishing upside against the Rondon. She's only been killing cab drivers. Wow, the 2.5 rounds is pick 'em. Alessandro Costa has some power too, so he's an ape of a man. Has Kora been finished? He was rear naked choked by Michael Sear. Interesting. Zachary Reese versus Cedric Dumas. The fight's back. Dumas is back. Yep. I mean, Zachary Reese should beat him. A lot of guys hate on Zachary Reese. I think he's very raw, but he has a lot of skills. And he's very athletic, very strong, very wiry, massive frame. And I think he might be a little bit chinny, but so I guess Dumas kind of has a path. He's also tall and he can crack Zach. He can also take him down. But yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Zach should get it done. Dumas is just a flake, and it's just crazy that he's even won this many fights. 1, 2, 3. 3 fights in the UFC, but they've given him the bottom of the barrel. Somehow beat Matej Panaz in contender series. That's his best win. But yeah, he's getting dropped, guillotined by Josh Friend, knocked out by everyone else. Lord Mikhail, Rizaboyev. I think Zachary Reese and the under is the side. I think the under is going to be steamed. Money's coming on Dumas, which is interesting. Better than minus 200. Yeah. Interesting. Zachary Reese almost lost to my boy Dushko Todorovic, so there's that. Jesus Aguilar, Luis Gurule. So I haven't taped this one yet. One sec. My boy Evan's in here. I'm going to shout him out. What's up, Evan? Evan, you're going to get a shout out in my future video. Stay tuned. All right, back to it. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurule. Pre-tape, I was like, wow, minus 200 on Luis Gurule. I did place 3 units on him against Ode Osborne. That didn't turn out well. That was a bit of a rough look. But yeah, he's been dropped a lot. He can be dropped. He's a short guy, but he's got very good cardio, good grappling, and that's just the nightmare matchup against Ode Osborne. And against Jesus Aguilar, I'm like, this is also not an easy matchup because Jesus Aguilar, very durable, short, compact. He's got some power. He's got that guillotine. And like I said, Luis Gurule has been dropped before. The reason I played him versus Ode Osborne is because Osborne's gassy and flaky and can break rounds 2 and 3. And I thought Gurule's quite durable. So, some of the sharps I know, they're playing the Luis Gurule chalk. And I haven't taped it yet. And I'm just like, okay, I wonder what they're seeing. Like, his Rafael Esteban fight was quite competitive. A lot of guys have been rinsed a lot worse than him, like he hasn't really been backpacked and controlled for most of the fight. He was just getting taken down over and over again because he keeps going for that silly guillotine. But can you blame the guy? He's guillotined how many people, and even guillotined, Stuart Nicol, who's like a really high level credential black belt from Australia. So he's good. He's got that good guillotine. So is he going to guillotine Gurule? Let me have a look. Never been subbed. I mean, Ode Osborne's the first guy to finish him, so that's interesting. Obviously, he'll be taken down with ease because everyone takes him down with ease. He just doesn't bother stuffing takedowns. Mateus Mondoko split, that was a bit of a red flag. Yeah, it's a dog or pass for me. I don't know. As a man that's played 3 units on Gurule before, I don't know. How how can I play him again at such a crazy line? I think Jesus Aguilar is a decent fighter. Like, he's better than people think. Alrighty, let's move on. Tatiana Suarez, Amanda Lemos. Interesting line. Considering Tatiana Suarez is full of injuries, she's a little bit washed. She looked a bit washed even before the Weili Zhang fight. She looked completely washed in the Weili Zhang fight. And yeah, she's a massive favorite against Amanda Lemos. I do understand the thought process behind it. Amanda Lemos is a fish off her back. She's not overly easy to hold down and take down, right? Verna Jandiroba tried it. She got reversed many times. Yasmin Lucindo tried it. She ended up getting taken down and held down. And, Mackenzie Dern lost. She held it down in round 1, but rounds 2 and 3, she failed, and she was getting hurt all over the place. So I get it. You watch Jessica Andrade standing arm triangle choker, which is almost unseen in MMA. I get it, but $1.30 Tatiana Suarez, no thank you, man. No thank you. I don't think she's all of a sudden going to be less washed, because if you look at her fights, there were some red flags in many of these fights. Montana De La Rosa, Jessica Andrade, and then she pulled out twice against Lemos and Verna Jandiroba due to her own injuries. So it's interesting. It's interesting. What is the under here? Let's have a look. The under. Pick him. That has my attention. I could see her finish both sides, right? Lemos submitted a bunch of times. Lemos cracks. Suarez showed great durability against Weili Zhang, getting crap beaten out of her, but it's price dependent. Litz, thanks for being in here, mate. Want to fade font so bad. Line has moved a lot, though, man. I liked that fight last night, and I was taping so much Contender Series. I locked in a bet that I'll speak about soon, and I was going to do some Fury, and I was like, I just don't have time, but it should be all right tomorrow. And yeah, just 30-40 cents movement. It just makes me quite negative to tape it now, because I feel like I missed out on a lot of line movement. But we'll see. I could change my mind, right? It could be like the COV last week. Just not wrong. I might be on font. We'll see. Quoth MMA. I'm sure there's some buyback for font. Can't believe how fast Martinez went from 180 to 130. I mean, it wasn't that fast. It was plus 180 all day yesterday. Basically, once I went to sleep, it was a big drop. So all it takes is a big bomb for that movement. Alrighty. Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva. Now, this is another one that I've been looking at for weeks. And I'm just like, hopefully the line doesn't move. I don't really have the time to go ahead. And I finally started taping it yesterday. Its worst line, $1.70 something. And, it's a tough click. I know Joaquim Silva well. BJJ Neto, he's been around for a long, long time. I was around when he killed old mate Audrey Holbrook in 30 seconds. I was around when I bet him against Jared Gordon, and that was a very stressful fight. Very, very stressful fight, back and forth. He got dropped, got taken down, and multiple times. And then in round 2, he took down Gordon, and Suarez stretched and ripped his hamstring apart, and then knocked him out in the most brutal, insane fashion. Left him slouched against the cage, and I was just like, there's not many bets that you cash that you feel exhilarating. Cub Swanson was the last one in his retirement fight. This was another, and I will never forget it. But yeah, he's very chinny. He's very chinny. If you're getting knocked out by Ricky Glenn with one punch, that's goodness gracious. That's that's all needs to be said. But yeah, he's very powerful. Has that guillotine that he won't stop going for. Never really hit it on anyone in MMA other than Magny in grappling. And yeah, just dangerous. I still think he's one of the most dangerous guys outside the ranking, and he can give everyone a challenge. Drakkar Klose beat him, but it was a close 29-28. He almost finished him. Armin Sarukian finished him, but he almost knocked him out in round 2, which is saying something. Nazareth was whatever. It was kind of competitive. Jared Gordon, Win is aging well, and he just kind of got edged out by Vince Pichel and Drakkar Klose. So he's got some issues with his volume and obviously the chin and the age, and sometimes he can gas, but he's a tough out. He's a tough out for anyone. Now, Claudio Puelles, this guy, he loves his knee bars. He's actually got a good double leg and good wrestling, but yeah, it's just pretty much gets finished in all his losses. Martin Bravo knocked him out to the body. Dan Hooker knocked him out to the body. So that's 2 losses in the UFC to the body. And, he was almost killed by Felipe Silva many times. It looked like multiple 10-8s here. Felipe Silva does hit like a truck. And that's one of the biggest comebacks in his life. He came back and knee-barred Felipe Silva. So other than that, Jordan Levitt, Chris Grutzmatica, which I thought he was losing until round 3. Just, whatever. And then Faraz Ziem, almost beat Faraz Ziem. And I think that's why the line is where it's at. Faraz Ziem is on a streak. He's quite close to the rankings, in my opinion. He's doing well. He's beat some names. Mike Davis in his last. And I think because of that performance, and also because, what Litz is saying down here, Puelles looks jacked. Mate, you're the third person to tell me that Puelles looks jacked. All right? I think because of that, people, money's coming in on Puelles, right? And I'm like, I don't think I'm interested in this fight. And then I started digging deep, and it's like, he can be taken down. Jared Gordon, as I mentioned, many have taken him down, but he's only been submitted by Janko Franca. And Janko Franca, when he was in the UFC, he was an animal. Then he went to PFL, he was an animal. He has a great record, a really high-level grappler. And since then, no one's really submitted him. People have taken him down, but he works his way up. And he's just strong. When he focuses on the sprawl, he can stuff it. He uses that guillotine to threaten, and he's obviously got that power. So it's like Claudio Puelles probably takes him down. He's not really a rear naked choke kind of guy. He had Ziem's back many times. He just falls off. Right? He's a Kimura, and he's like a knee bar. He's just low percentage subs kind of guy. So I just feel like after a couple of sweaty moments, maybe he could even drop Joaquim Silva because he's so chinny, right? But maybe after a few moments, when this gets into round 2 and 3, I think if Silva BJ Neto lands one of his punches that he landed on Armin Sarukian, who's insanely durable, Jesse Ronson, Nazareth Hakparas, Jared Gordon, even Drakkar Klose. He dropped Drakkar Klose in round 3 and almost guillotined him. And Drakkar Klose slammed out of it and got out of it. I don't think any of those instances, I think Puelles can be deaded because he's very flaky and he's been hurt and he's been finished a bunch. So I'm also considering, so I have a unit and a half on Joaquim Silva just because I thought the line was going to get crushed even more. I woke up to being reverse CLV'd, which very rare for me because one, I don't rush my bets. I tape and then I wait, I sleep on it. And I like to think, will I get the best of the line? So a lot of the time I get the best of the line late. But here I thought the line would get worse. And two, it's just, I don't rush it. So I woke up to being reverse CLV. So that was a bit weird, but I'm not panicking. I think as the week goes on, more money will come in on Silva. There is no way you can tape it and not feel like you want to play BJJ Neto, right? I lost a bunch of money on his unders, all right? So I lost money on the Armin Sarukian under. I had the 1.5, which was plus money. I hit an opener, stupid bet. I lost that. I lost the under 2.5. And then thankfully I lettered it with the doesn't go. That saved me. He obviously almost knocked out Armin Sarukian in round 2. I lost the under at Pick'em against Clay Guida. Almost kills him with a brutal uppercut in round 1. Almost takes his head off with a couple of brutal guillotines. And then obviously drops Drakkar Klose and almost guillotines him as well. So I think this could be the time to finally hit an under, right? Whether Puelles high rolls some knee bar or some crap or actually knocks out a chinny Joaquim Silva or Joaquim Silva just kills him with a flying knee, with a overhand right, or finally gets that guillotine. Against Ziem had a deep guillotine and Claudio Puelles had to give up the mount because he was tight. Generally when you roll over and give up position, a sweep, that's when it's too tight. You can't really fight the hands or do anything else. So, yeah, a long breakdown, but I have a bet on it, so I thought I'd give you guys all the aspects. So I woke up this morning with the CLV. I'm not as confident as I was yesterday, but we'll see how I feel by the end of the week. I'm not really thinking about buying out or anything. I got a unit and a half on Silva, and I think the finish is very, very alive. Silva 2-3 or doesn't go. Under 2.5 could be tilting because he went over 2.5 against Sarukian, and he went over 2.5 against old mate Jared Gordon. But let's get back to it. Jose Medina versus Dushko Todorovic. Wow. What a fall for grace for my Serbian man, Dushko. I had high hopes for him at the start. I'll be honest, I quickly gave up those hopes after watching his first few UFC fights. I realized he was very limited. When the UFC gives you Jose Medina, that just means you're bottom of the barrel, honestly. But I'm happy that they've given him a winnable UFC fight. I don't think there's many out there. Obviously, Zachary Reese was a winnable fight. Almost did it. I think after that long layoff and the knee injury, he's turning around much quicker. He's going to be less rusty. He usually has good cardio. He kind of cardio died against Zach. Jose Medina, look, there's a part of me that's scared because I'm like, Dushko is so low on form right now and injury ridden and stuff that maybe even Jose Medina could beat him. But yeah, this is the worst guy in the UFC. Jose Medina is literally one of the worst in modern times. We had some bad guys back in the day when UFC was a bit lower level and there was less promotions. So everyone was just coming to the UFC no matter how bad they were. But in modern times, I think Jose Medina is one of the worst guys. With Contender Series, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. And he's probably going to lose this 4th fight and be cut. So yeah, Dushko, $1.30. What are you going to do with that? Do you parlay someone like Dushko on such a losing streak? Don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. Santiago Luna versus Kang Lee. I don't actually know anything about Luna. His name is the Border Man or something. What a nickname that is. Let me have a look. The Border Boy. Border Boy. Someone tell me there's a different connotation to what I'm thinking for Border Boy as a Mexican fighter. But yeah, I don't know anything about him, and so yeah, I can't really give you a breakdown for an early tease without any tape. Let me just look at what's the total for this fight. Can't really find it. Anyway, doesn't matter. Alexander Hernandez, Diego Ferreira. Quick turnaround for my boy Alexander the Great after deading Chase Hooper, and he's on a bit of a streak. Not long ago, people were shitting on Hernandez. Moving to lightweight was the best thing he ever did. I always said that. I'm like, just don't understand these fighters that openly torture themselves with the weight cut and just to get a couple of pounds advantage, but sacrifice everything else. So he's killing it now. He's killing it at lightweight. Hubbard, Kurt Holloway, killing Chase Hooper. He's doing well. And honestly, he probably should be the favorite against Diego Ferreira. Ferreira, 41. He's been dropped. He's been hurt a lot. He beat Rebecca, but I don't think that's as great of a win. Rebecca just no defense. Rebecca's going to be one of those wasted talents because he just never adjusts his game plan or his strategy. He could still win, Diego Ferreira. I mean, if he pushes the pace, but he's very close to retirement. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I'll lean Alexander Hernandez. If he can just stick and move, he's going to be a massive striking advantage. He can shut down Diego Ferreira scrambling and takedowns early. Diego Ferreira not really the best grappler anyway. Pardon me, he's a great grappler, but not the best wrestler, the most physical wrestler. So, yeah, Alexander Hernandez is a good nullifier of grappling. He's very athletic. So, yeah, I'll lean Alexander Hernandez, but pre-tape, I'm not really sure I want to lock it in at chalk. So, money is coming in on him. He seems to be taking even more action. But there is no totals as of now. So, let's move. Kevin Gastelum, Dustin Stoltzfus. What an interesting fight. Kevin is a massive favorite. I want to say I get it, but I don't really. Like, he's not like a prospect or anything. He's beat Wash Daniel Rodriguez. He's beat Chris Curtis, which was a good win, but he's always had issues with the grappling, right? Just Sean Brady just mauled him, submitted him. Yeah, and that's that. Jack Manson, sub round 1. Sub. Chris Weidman, sub. Yeah, man. I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus is going to be at a striking disadvantage. He's going to be at a speed disadvantage. He's as stiff as a board. Had a competitive fight with Rizaboyev. Could have easily won that. I think this is an easier matchup, right? Kevin Gastelum up at middleweight is shorter. He's more compact. If Dustin can survive and just put on the grind, I mean, he has a chance. He has a chance, but it's a bit of a shit show fight. I'm honestly not rushing to tape it personally. It's just, I mean, it's a dog or pass, honestly. Good live bet, potentially. Good live bet with the total here. It's going to be chalk to the over, yeah. But I mean, a KO could happen, a submission could happen. So plus 150. maybe. Jared Gordon versus Rafa Garcia. Wow, it's so strange to see Jared Gordon as such a massive favorite. Even if it is Rafa Garcia, Rafa Garcia is more durable, but he is a big gassy. He doesn't hit that hard, but he's got some pop in his hands. He should be able to at least hurt a chinny Jared Gordon. He beat Vince Pichel, who was kind of competitive. Got wins over Clay Guida, Mahashate. Those don't really mean much. Lost to Drakkar close. Jesse Ronson finished him. And Tan Levy. He's all right, man. He's all right UFC level fighter. He seems to be kind of disrespected on the line against Jared Gordon just because Jared Gordon, just killed Thiago Moises and Mark Madsen. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be parlaying Jared Gordon or anything like that, so we can move on. It's a dog or pass, but don't know how I feel pre. All right. Pirate. This Serb taking a fall. Pirate, so you're telling me you're betting Jose Medina? How does he beat Dushko? Tell me, my friend. Quantum MMA, that Stoltzfus performance versus Serrano lives in my head rent-free, mate. I hate that fight. I ended up chasing with that fight. I ended up chasing Soriano to get a KO, even though my better judgment said Stoltzfus is too durable for that, even though he's hittable. And then I also chased with Soriano to get one takedown. And he couldn't, he never even went for it. And I'm like, he always goes for takedowns when he shouldn't. And he just never went for it. And then he even got dropped, and he still didn't go for a takedown. And instead, Dustin Stoltzfus out-wrestled him. Basically, every single fight I bet of Soriano, whether I fade the guy or I play him, the opposite happens. So that's my worst guy, Soriano. And I always get baited into betting his fights, even though I know not to. Let me try to pronounce his name. Sin Diabla y Motopompi. Hi, Steve. Would you make a breakdown for upcoming Octagon KSW events? Look, I try. I do enjoy them quite well. Those are my two favorite regional promotions. Octagon is on this week, and because I'm attempting to do 5 shows, I don't think I can do a 6th, mate, for Octagon, unfortunately. So, but you know where to find me. I'll give you breakdowns if you want. If you've got any questions on some fights, we'll do. KSW is next week, I think. I'll see if I can do that. I'll do my best. Alrighty. What's next? Rob Font versus David Martinez. So as I mentioned, this is the fight that stuck out to me. Big plus money on David Martinez. Went to bed. 50 cents worse. It kind of bothers me. Martinez, very, very durable. He's got some undercover pop as well. Just knocked out Simon Oliveira, who's only been knocked out before once in like 20-something fights. But he's a bit washed, it should be said. And he's just knocked out, a bunch of these other guys, but he has a lot of decisions. Obviously, it's a big step up. Simon Oliveira is basically his best win, hands down. So a big step up, and now he's going against, 38-year-old Rob Font, who's chinny, and he's had a split decision to Gene Matsumoto, beat Carla Phillips, who looked like he had AIDS. He looked horrendous against Davison Figueiredo. I played him there because I thought Figueiredo would be more washed than him, and wow, Font has never looked more washed than that fight, honestly. So he's on a bit of a resurgence these last 2 fights, Matsumoto and Phillips, but I don't know, man. He's still chinny. He still has his issues. He's still 38 years of age. But he's a scrapper. Rob Font's always been a scrapper. He always comes through when people least expect it. He was an underdog against Gene. He was big underdog against Carl Phillips. Pretty sure he was a big underdog against Adrian Yanez. Yeah, he was. Plus 140, not big, but... So, that's the time to play him. And now he's a favorite. No thanks. I'll tape this fight, see if there's any value on Martinez, or maybe I come around and go the other way. Diego Lopes, Gene Silva. Look, everyone is thinking this is an easy fight for Gene Silva. Like, he was minus 200 and it's just been steamed some more. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, Diego Lopes is good. He was maybe 1 round away, a couple of moments away from beating Alexander Volkanovski. He showed that he's quite stupid. He didn't really adjust. He kept trying to knock out Volkanovski. And if he just made a couple of adjustments, threw a couple of jabs, instead of doing the same thing for 25 minutes straight, he probably would have cracked Volkanovski. But yeah, no jab, no nothing against the shorter fighter. So If he hasn't really learned from that, yeah, Gene Silva should knock him out because he was incredibly hittable and he was actually wobbled by Volkanovski. But if he has, if he just fights long, if he tries to be smart in some way, he hits like a truck, man. He can hurt. He can drop Gene Silva. There's no reason why it couldn't happen. He's bigger. He's insanely large for featherweight, and then also he's got that insane jiu-jitsu path as well. But Gene Silva just went toe-to-toe with Bryce Mitchell, was taken down a couple of times, worked his way up, and submitted Bryce Mitchell, which just tells you that maybe he has a more well-rounded game than we thought. Right, but yeah, well, what am I going to do with $33? I'm not really going to parlay him. He seems like a big step up to me. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Sid, nice. Pirate, I would never bet that bum. Oh well, so you're just giving me your opinion, your hot take, but I'm not putting your money where your mouth is. All good. Dushko beats that punching bag. I mean, he fucking should, man. He should. If he doesn't, then I might have to get a different citizenship. Alrighty, that's it. Only doing the UFC. A lot of shows this week. Let me look at some totals. Rob Font Martinez. There's a big under there. Obviously, I do feel like that could happen. But the issue is David Martinez, incredibly durable. Rob Font going to decisions. Yeah, I think it's basically David Martinez KO if you think it will happen. And what do we got for totals in Gene Silva? Wow, 1.5 rounds? That's rough. It's rough. So, yeah, there's a few things that are sticking out. I already have a bet on Joaquin Silva. And considering Alice Pereira, if this money keeps on coming on Randon, and just a bunch of fights I need to tape some more. So that's it. That's where we're at. Thanks for listening. Peace out. Keep an eye out for many more videos this week.